Hello, everyone. My name is Tessin Torres, and today I'm going to be talking about, I think this is the chapter 7 video, about Ruby Frank and the momfluencer. And we're going to be talking about it in the lens of social process theory. In the last class, I know that we talked about not reading off of a script and more so just like putting in our own input. So we're gonna try to do that today, with like just going over and like looking over what needs to be talked about, and then we'll just word vomit here. Um, okay, so starting off, what the social process theory is. So basically, I think it's broken up into three things. So differential association, social learning theory, and social control theory. Basically, this whole like the whole main idea of social process theory is that you are not born like the way that your criminal behavior is not something that you're born with. It's something that's learned through social interactions, like with groups or like the environment you're around, people you hang around, what's normalized in your community, et cetera, et cetera. With differential association, it's basically where we learn behavior from the people that we spend time with. So friends, like I know a lot of people like growing up, like their mom or their dad would tell them not to hang around with that certain group of people because it would be like they're a bad influence. That's kind of what it is. Social learning theory is a behavior that is reinforced through rewards and punishments. So it's like when you clean the house for your parents and they give you like $5. That's like the reward. That's like the social learning theory. It's like you get rewards, or like when you do something wrong, you're grounded, or like you get your phone taken away. That's like the punishment. It's basically like um if it's essentially saying like if harmful behavior was praised or like justified or it goes unpunished, it would continue. So it's like chopping up like the two and like differentiating rewards versus punishments. For social control theory, it's strong bonds to society, so family, school, community, law, religion, um, etc. So that all that is like to prevent crimes. So weak bonds or isolation increase the risk of you becoming more deviant. Sorry, I don't know why they're out there revving their engine. But like if you don't have a very strong connection with family or like a very strong, how do I say it? Strong parental figure or strong connections with adults at school, you're not very enticed or inclined to do well in school. Or if you don't see like people around you in your, maybe religion and they're like not as like, I don't know, taking it serious, you're more inclined to not take it so seriously. So it's more so like it's strong bonds, like you're building off other people. So it's all this is to prevent crime. So overall crime happens like through learned behavior, through like all these different types of communities and families and da 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 da, reinforcement and weak social controls. So for case one, Ruby Frankie. Okay, so I actually saw this on TikTok. So Ruby Frankie, she was a family blogger in Utah. She ran a YouTube channel called The Eight Passengers. And this got like TikTok famous back in like 2023. It still kind of is like talked about. So yeah. But basically she like went over like whenever she got TikTok famous, the reason that this all happened was because people were suspecting abuse. And this is because they would go back into her videos and see the way that she would talk to her children, the way she would treat her children. Basically, her channel kind of revolved around like extreme, harsh discipline methods. And so, like, while also, hold on. while also putting and reinforcing religious parenting. So that's why it kind of like contradicted itself, and people were starting to question and be like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And they were starting to make like edits about like how the children were acting and like what they would do because social media tends to pick up on those things. And so yeah. Um, she became closely involved with with a counselor named Judy, excuse me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Hildebrandt. Um, Basically they created content talking about like the extreme discipline methods. And then authorities later found out that Ruby Franke had been abusing her children, and all of her children were severely abused. She pled guilty to child abuse charges in 2023. More of the important factors into this case is that she was a part of a ideological and online community. Um, and then some of her um, ways of thinking for this channel was that harsh parenting was framed as morally correct. So that's like the foundation of this channel. From a societal process perspective, her behavior might have been reinforced through peer influence. So, like, she had become in contact with this counselor and they were running ideas back and forth. You could say that she would have been influenced by the people that she was hanging around, by the people that she was talking to. So, her extreme discipline may have become more normalized in her ideas because she was been around people that, made sense. Um, so yeah. Case number two, we're talking about Elizabeth S. Sorry if I'm saying this wrong. Escanolia. Sorry. We actually talked about her previously. So, basically, she was a Texas mother convicted in 2012 for severely abusing her young daughter, um, over a bathroom accident. So basically, what happened in this case was that her child, had a bathroom accident, like a little incident, um, and she ended up abusing her child. The abuse was so extreme that it resulted in really serious injuries. And so Elizabeth ended up being sentenced to prison. And she gained national media attention from this. And I remember it surfacing, but this might just because I'm more on like a criminal side of TikTok, but I remember this surfacing up and being talked about. Important factors is that she came from a lower income background, and there was no major online ideological influence, but based in like the what's it called, social process perspective, we can say that because of the lower income background, she probably didn't have that much of like a higher influence to go to, or someone really looking out for her, like a teacher, um a parent, etc. And so that's kind of how that plays into that. So the abuse appeared as tied to anger, and harsh discipline beliefs also tied into that. It also tied into like stress and instability. um might have played the role into this case. So that's like, we have to like talk about how it integrates, because it's more so than just like black and white, like she abused her child, and that's what they're getting at with the social process theory. So the key similarities between these, they were both mothers. They both framed discipline as a form of correction. They both inflicted severe abuse, and both of their environments allowed for the type of behavior to continue for some time. And this kind of just shows that crime isn't really limited to poverty or social class. It's so like we're not just going into the factor of like, oh, okay, well, all of our crime comes from people who are in lower class areas or poverty. That's what we're basically trying to get at, is like it comes from everyone, and it isn't based off like a certain social class. It's more so like based on like the people you integrate with. And like while that can be like its own separate topic, this is like another kind of theory of the social process theory. And so yes, that's how it's being integrated. So yes, to argue just a little bit further, they both learned what's it called? They both may have learned reinforced harmful discipline beliefs, which led them to the way that they had acted with their children. And then peer groups or environmental um, kind of standards may have shaped said behavior. So, yes, this is it. I wanted to tie them both together because I feel like it could be pretty helpful. So I tied the cases and how it went into the social, sorry, the um, social process theory. So yes, this is my video. Hopefully everyone likes it. I tried to not read on the script so much and like go on like off the dome. Um, but I just needed like little bullet points of what we're talking about. But yes, I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.